dreams, and family. I'm John Gonzalez, the dad, and on today's podcast, we have not one, not two, but all three of your co hosts, also named Gonzalez. If you're new to the podcast or familiar with the podcast, you know it's his dad, a dad and his three sons talking about the game they love. Let's introduce you to all of the sons who are on today's podcast. Where we're going to talk a little bit about the World Series. Okay, a lot about the World Series. Let's start with son number two. He looking so casual there, like he's got something going on. It's Ty Gonzalez, based in Grand Rapids, Michigan. How you doing, Ty?
Doing great. World Series has been interesting, I'm sure, for all of us since all four of our teams are out. But right here, I'm predicting it now before we even get into the show. Here's your World Series MVP.
Whoa, he's from the Lugnuts,
Wow.
Yeah, former
Vladdy,
Lugnut.
former
Former
Lugnut.
Lugnut.
Yeah,
There he
nice,
is. MVP
nice.
right here.
Not even through the introduction of today's guest,
He's
we're
on
already
fire.
making predictions. He is on fire. Son number three, based in South Bend, Indiana. He's still in baseball, coaching at IUSB as the associate head coach. He's probably got scouting to do today, field work to do today, or a recruit probably is in town today, and he's probably working on the rotation for opening weekend. It's Zane Gonzalez. How you doing, Zane?
Doing well, doing well. Yep, it's we wrapped up fall ball last week, so things are starting to slow down for us, but they're also starting to pick up a little bit. So, fun time of year.
And I'm assuming your World Series was pretty intense too.
Oh yeah, yep. Won all three games, and it came down to that last game. I think the team won like it was like a one-run game or something.
I love the colleges doing their version of the World Series in fall ball because they got to get the teams ready, right? And this is the best time to do it. All right, and joining us from Charlotte, North Carolina, son number one, Zach Gonzalez. How you doing, Zach?
I'm doing great. Happy birthday, Dad.
It is. We are live today, streaming on YouTube, and we are live on October 31st of 2025, and it is indeed my birthday. Every year on this day, in fact, I've had some coworkers bump into the office here and say, "Well, it really is your birthday today?" And I'm like, "Yep, it really is." I said, "The fun fact about that is I have a little brother, Nick, who was born 5 years later. So two of us have the birthday of Halloween in the Gonzalez family. And then Zach, your father-in-law, also has a birthday today.
Yep, that's right. I'll see him tonight when we trick or treat.
It's fun when when your father-in-law and your father has shared the same birthday. That doesn't happen very often, I would imagine.
Yeah, strange.
Well,
Never forget it.
Ty already got into the predictions. So let's
Spooky.
talk let's talk about this year's 2025 World Series. And I know that you, Zach, looked back at some of our predictions kind of later in September. How did we do, and how are you feeling about this World Series? Game six is tonight.
You asked me, Dad?
I did ask you, Zach. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was August 9th.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, it was our way too early prediction. Um, we did pretty well. I mean, I think a couple of us picked the Rays. That didn't really work out. Well, I guess it was just Dad that picked the Rays. Dad picked the Rays. Let's see. Um, all three of us picked Houston, and they missed. All three of us picked the Mets, and they missed. Sorry, Ty. Um, but one thing that stood out is only Zane had the Blue Jays winning the East. Um, Dad had the Blue Jays missing the playoffs. Um, and yeah, none of us had the Reds making it. But yeah, it was pretty cool to kind of look back on. We all picked Phillies, Brewers, Dodgers in the NL. And then our AL winners were kind of mixed up a little bit as far as, all three of us picked the Tigers to win the Central. But Boston Yankees, Blue Jays. So we were all mixed on the East. And then the West was Mariners, Houston. Zane picked Houston to win the West. But I feel like in general, we did pretty well. We did pretty well.
Yeah, I think in August it was starting to, kind of take form of what was going to happen. I did go back and listen to the one podcast we did on day 162, I should say game 162, where there's still. I was thinking about how the Blue Jays have emerged this postseason, and it was on that last day of the season they still hadn't clinched the overall number 1 seed, or they had clinched the East, right, Zane? I mean, it was still in question that last day.
Yeah, the East was a race right to the finish. But the East turned out to be a really, really good division. I think it'll slowly go back to the beast of the East in the American League. It's been kind of up and down the last few years with the Red Sox being at the bottom. The Rays were kind of trickling into that third spot in the standings, but the Red Sox are starting to make some moves, and their young guys are graduating into the big leagues and contributing right away. So, it's going to be interesting the next few years how the AL East shapes up. The Yankees are always going to make moves in the offseason. The offseason talk will probably be a different discussion, but this offseason, there's going to be a lot going on.
Well, I'm going to make this really quick because like me and a lot of people here in the office were talking about that 18-inning game, right, where Freddie Freeman hits the walk-off, and you're thinking, okay, the Blue Jays have no chance of winning the World Series. I mean, it's definitely Dodgers all the way. So we're going to go to Sun number 1, 2, and 3. Did you think the Blue Jays would be one game away from winning the World Series going into Game 6? Zach?
I had an open mind. I mean, the way that they came back and beat the Mariners, yeah, it didn't surprise me.
Ty?
So I thought after game one, I thought like Blue Jays were they're on fire. There's no way they're losing the World Series. I mean, they hit the huge grand slam, and last year Freddie Freeman hit a grand slam in game one, and it just kind of seemed like, all right, they're gonna finish the story here. I think Blue Jays are just gonna kind of run away with it. But after game three, and even now, I still don't know. I think the Dodgers still could win it on the road. I mean, that game three was unbelievable, and Freddie Freeman. I mean, it's the Dodgers. They are stacked, so you can't count them out. I think they still have a chance to win it.
Zane?
Yeah, after the day after game 3, the 18-inning game, we have a couple Canadian kids on our team here, and obviously they're big Blue Jays fans. I told them, I said, hey, 2018, Red Sox went 18 innings with the Dodgers and lost, and then they went on to win the World Series. The only difference was the Red Sox were up 2-0 going into that game 3. So, I'm not surprised that it's kind of turned around this way. It's game 6 is going to be crazy. But Blue Jays are home now. Clearly, they play a little bit better at home. So I'm not surprised at all that the Blue Jays turned right around and found a way to win 2 more games.
Well, I guess it was just me that I'm thinking, well, this is all over. I came in the next day to work and I just said, it's done. I mean, you might as well give it to the Dodgers right now, right? Because wasn't Shohei Ohtani coming back to start the next game?
Yeah, he started the next game and they lost that game.
Yeah, well, he looked pretty tired, though. I remember seeing the post-game interview with him on TV in whatever time it was, 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, when I actually was up watching it. And he was like, I just need to go to sleep. And I started thinking about that after he didn't have a great outing. And I was like, those pitchers are probably used to having a routine. I mean, he's a rarity because he's a two-way player, and routine is probably different from him. But those starting pitchers, probably need their rest. They probably have a routine of what they do the day before they start, 2 days before they start. So, that was a tall order, I think, coming back the next day and then trying to pitch and hit.
Yeah, I mean, Ohtani's obviously in a class of his own of how he needs to go about things, but playing 18 innings, and I know he just DHs, but having to go run the bases, he was on base every time he went up there, except for the couple times he had a home run. So it's a mental toll on you, and I think if the Blue Jays do end up winning this World Series, I think it's going to come back around to the performance that Shane Bieber that threw Game 4. It's going to come back to the performance of him in Game 4 and being able to give the Blue Jays a quality start, and Ohtani probably being tired, and then this Dodgers offense has gone a little quiet.
And then, Zach, to watch Savage come out of nowhere from start of the season at Single A. You've known about this pitcher for a while. We talked about it on the podcast before. He just is it. Let me ask you this question. I mean, he's obviously a great pitcher, but is it the advantage to someone like Savage that doesn't have a ton of scouting reports on him, and he's facing these guys? Is that why he's so successful right now at this moment?
Absolutely. These hitters, every single time they take an at bat against a pitcher, they're cataloging that information. They're going back to their, video scout department, and they can replay all those at bats and see, the last 10 times I faced this guy and he's thrown me an off speed with 2 strikes, and the last 2 times I faced this guy, how did he set me up? Savage, they don't have much data on him. Now this will be, the more and more that they face him, the more and more they learn about him. But the Dodgers are having to go back and look at stuff when he pitched at ECU, right? Because the stuff that they have in single A, double A, the data is just not as good as the triple A data they got off of him. And even that, he only made X amount of starts in AAA. They don't have much to go off of. It's very common to see a rookie pitcher get called up to the big leagues and is dominant for a handful of starts. And then the league makes an adjustment and you go from there. But it's pretty common. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's definitely rookies that get called up. Chase Petty, and he can't even get out of the first inning with the Reds. That happens too. But it can be surprising for fans, I think, who see guys that come out of nowhere and they're like, who's this guy? Why is he doing so good against the Dodgers? Like, he's nothing, right? But it's just because these guys haven't seen him and the league hasn't adjusted yet.
Well, all three of you.
I think the other side of it is like, you have a lot of data in the minor leagues with, TrackMan and all the data that's available to clubs nowadays, and organizations now have top-notch resources to be able to prepare their hitters for the starter they're going to see. They'll have projection screens that you can see the actual pitcher and it comes out, kind of like what we used to see at like museums, right? You used to be able to stand in and see Randy Johnson's fastball, right? They can do that now with the same exact spin, the same exact pitch, and how it's going to move, right? But with a minor leaguer, I probably don't have that great of video to be able to put on that projection. So, like, hitting's all timing, and it's like until you get those first few at bats, like, it's going to be a little bit of an adjustment. Like, you can fire up a machine, but it's not the same as timing up his motion and where do I need to start my swing with how this guy's rhythm is. It takes a little bit of time. I think that's just where he's dominating right now, and that splitter is unreal, and that's why he's able to just go crazy with the splitter.
Folks, you're listening to Big League Dreaming, the podcast, a show about baseball, dreams, and family. I'm John Gonzalez, the dad, and we're talking to my 3 sons, Zach, Ty, and Zane, all baseball fans. Of course, played in college baseball. All 3 of them pitchers as well. Zach and Zane on the bookends, both left-handed pitchers, and Ty in the middle there, a right-handed pitcher and a catcher as well. Also played multiple positions, so he's always fun to talk to because he knows what it's like in today's major league, right? I mean, you're going from shortstop to second base to third base to maybe the outfield. You never know where you're going to play, and it's funny, Ty, because when you played, I mean, that was pretty uncommon. Now it seems like you have to play multiple positions to be a part of a team that's gonna move things around. Like today's coaching seems like it's like a match game more than ever. Not only on rotation with pitchers, but even with position players, right, Ty?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was almost 15 years ago since I played, so it's been a lot of changes. But yeah, you got to be versatile, and when your number's called, you gotta step up and provide for the team where you can, depending on whatever your role is.
I wanted to talk about where I was going with that was as all 3 of you having pitching experience is Yamamoto takes the mound today for the Dodgers. He is 3-1 in postseason, 1.57 ERA, coming off that incredible complete game. The Blue Jays lead the series 3-2. Tonight's game is at 8:00 on Fox, taking on Gausman, the right-handed pitcher. 2-2, 2.55 ERA here in the postseason. I'm going to go to you, Zach. Yamamoto, I mean, are you looking? Is he going to do another complete game today? Is it going to be a 4-1 Dodgers win?
I don't think it'll be a complete game because this is an elimination game for the Dodgers. So I think if he gets in a little bit of trouble, that it could be a shorter leash, seventh inning, eighth inning.
Right.
They'll make some decisions, get the right arm in there. That way, nothing bad happens. So I don't think it'll be a complete game, but yes, I think the Dodgers win tonight behind Yamamoto for sure.
Zane, would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how the Blue Jays do with Yamamoto. Their second time seeing him in the series. I think he threw majority splitters in that previous outing in that complete game. I think that was the most thrown pitch he had. So it's going to be interesting to see if the Blue Jays have an approach to be able to attack that splitter early and take that away from him. Then I think the Blue Jays will find a way to win. If they can't, if he can, tunnel that splitter and curveball off a high fastball, he'll go long distance. He'll go 6-7 innings, and then we'll see what the back end will look like after that. So I think it can go either way, but I would love to see a Game 7 for sure.
I think we all want to see a Game 7. I think that's kind of what we're leaning toward right now. Ty, did you get a chance to watch Yamamoto pitch that complete game at all?
No, I saw the highlights the next day though, but he was on fire. That was in LA, right? Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just like his makeup. He just looks so confident out there. He's got that look on his face like nothing is going to rattle him. And I think he commanded the game right from the beginning. It was his game to win. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Zach, I think you said they might, because it's an elimination game, they might go to the pen earlier. But I don't know who do you go to in the pen. I mean, I might just keep him out there and take my chances.
Well, I mean, at this stage in the playoffs, it's all hands on deck. If you can throw, you're an option.
Yeah,
It's Ohtani's an option at this point. Like, don't be surprised if it's the 7th, 8th, or 9th inning and you see Ohtani go from DH to the mound.
So, Ty, did you think that the Dodgers will win tonight?
Yeah, they're closer.
I don't know. I think it might be Toronto just because of the home field. Like you saw in game 1 how crazy that crowd was. And I feel like even though these are professional baseball players and they just kind of get into the zone and they kind of zone all that stuff out, I think it's just another level that they're not used to in these postseason games. Because the first 162 games of the season, everyone's there just watching. The crowds really aren't that into it,
Right.
through the summer. Everybody's there just to like hang out and have a good time. You might get some crowds that are a little bit more lively than others, Wrigley, Fenway, or whatever. But when you're playing 162 games and you're up 8-0, you don't have to go up against that. I mean, game 1 in Toronto, they were screaming at Ohtani, "We don't need him." They're not really used to that kind of crowds, and I think Toronto tonight's just going to be nuts, especially because they can win it all tonight. So I think that will play a factor.
Well, Toronto has 2 chances at home to win. Like Zach said earlier, they've been very successful at home, so I think it leans that way from looking at it on paper. But then again, the Dodgers are the Dodgers, right? That veteran team that's been there before, so it sets up well for hopefully, like we all want, a Game 7 to see what happens from there. That game will take place on November 1st on Saturday. Let's see. Before we wrap things up here, Zach, anything else you want to add either about this World Series and about this is a great time of year for us, but also a sad time of the year because the season comes to an end?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think it's out of the question for the Dodgers to still win this thing. If they can win tonight, as you guys know, anything can happen in a Game 7. And Seattle went into Toronto and won the first 2 games of that series and went up 2-0 and won 2 games on the road in Toronto. So it's possible for teams to go into Rogers Center in 2025 and take 2 games back to back. We'll see. I'm really interested to see what the Dodgers are going to do with the bullpen. Their bullpen hasn't been great this year, but I would love to see Roki Sasaki come out of the bullpen early, light up the radar gun. Otani out of the bullpen would be super fun to watch. So we'll see what happens.
Ty, how about you?
I think tonight is Game 7. I think whoever wins tonight is gonna win the series. Obviously, Blue Jays win tonight, they win the series. If Dodgers win tonight, I think there's no way they're losing Game 7. I think
Wow.
Toronto has to win tonight in order to win it all. They don't, they're done.
Wow. All right, Zane, why don't you wrap up the show for us? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it could go either way. But I think it'd be for a fan's perspective, it's probably more. I would rather see the Dodgers win tonight and then Otani close out Game 7. I think that'd be awesome.
Wow, that would be pretty awesome. All right, well, it's been a good season, 2025. We've seen a lot of baseball. All right, Ty, showing off Vladdy there when he was with the Lansing Lugnuts. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I still can't believe Bichette, Vladdy Jr. And it seemed like there was a third player on that team, right? That played for the
Kevin
Lugnuts.
Biggio.
Yeah.
Kevin Biggio.
Yeah. I was like, holy cow, that was something else. All right, we're looking forward to Game 6 and possibly a Game 7, and then we'll have a recap show next week at some point about the whole year and kind of give our highlights, lowlights, and what we're looking forward to next season. All right, guys, I guess that's about it. Ty, you want to tell people where they can learn more about Big League Dreaming the podcast?
Yep, you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, under Big League Dreaming the podcast, or wherever you get your podcast at. Give us a follow on TikTok at Big League Dreaming. Also, we're on X, formerly known as Twitter, at BLD Pod. That's at BLD POD. And of course, here on YouTube, we'll do live streams like this occasionally. And typically, we drop episodes on Saturdays at 9 a.m. So we'll see you on the next one. Give us a subscribe so you can follow us all off season and the rest of the journey. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye, everyone.